Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Gay with God podcast, a safe place for us to share our stories and support one another. How long did we know? What challenges did we face? Did we lose our faith? When did we find our way back home? Or are we still searching? The stories you hear on this podcast will melt your heart and strengthen your belief that in God, all things are possible, and you can be authentically gay with the God of your understanding. I am your host, Midge Noble, and I am very honored that you are here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gay with God podcast. I am Midge Noble, and I'm very glad that you are here. If you did not see the post that I uploaded to let everybody know that I was not going to be doing a podcast last week, but directed you to my website, gaywithgod.com. It is up and running. I know the last few weeks I've been sending people there to buy my memoir, Gay with God, Reclaiming My Faith, Honoring My Story, and only found out after an update happened on my website and I went to get on the website, I noticed that it wasn't there. There was a critical error. So I told somebody, I'm sure I lost 100 different copies of sales while it was down for like a couple weeks or whatever it was. But and maybe I did. And I would be glad that I did. And I hope that you guys will come back, all you hundreds of people that wanted my memoir, come back to the website, gaywithgod.com, and I will sign a copy for you and mail it out. If not, you can go buy it anywhere you get your books. So I hope you'll take advantage of that. And I would love for you to get a copy for yourself or for someone that you love that has always been told that they're an abomination and that they can't have a relationship with God. And we all know in the Gay with God group that that's not true, that the God of our understanding created us, has always loved us. And I struggled with that for 30 years before I could figure out how to blend the belief that I was always told in church with who I really was, and that, that was basically just not a true statement, that I was an abomination, and neither are you. So gaywithgod.com, go to the website, check it out. If you find out it's not working again, please let me know. Email me at empoweredmidge@gmail.com, and I'd appreciate a heads up if anybody ever finds out that that's true before I catch it. So today, I want to talk about something that I always call them God winks. I call it, the Holy Spirit nudging me or giving me something to say. And I saw this quote on Facebook. I love it when social media actually gives us something really cool to talk about and something to think about instead of just all the random stuff that has been happening on our social medias. This quote comes from Oscar Olagais, and he said, "If the words you spoke appeared on your skin, would you still be beautiful?" Let me say that again. If the words you spoke appeared on your skin, would you still be beautiful? No. Now, I don't even know, I don't call myself beautiful now, but I certainly would not be beautiful if everything that I speak in the random times that I've seen the stuff on social media that I don't like, I would not be beautiful. I have been in such a state lately that I just say whatever pops into my mind. I don't have a filter at this point. I'm beginning to get my filter back. I do believe part of my explosions have been because of the steroids that I've been taking for an illness I've had. And I've been on them for 3 months, and that's just cruel and unusual punishment to put an Aries, who's hot-headed anyway, on steroids for 3 months. But I'm now off the steroids, and I'm hoping that I'll start to see a little bit of control and less outbursts happening. But I just own it, though. I own the fact that I have always said exactly what I thought, and I don't always filter it. I do sometimes, my sister doesn't think I have self-control, but people have not died in my presence. Therefore, I can attest that I do have self-control. Um, and so I own it though because I have allowed what's happening in our country and I have allowed what's happening in the world to really kind of cut me down at my knees. I don't, which is, they used to say in the fundamentalist church, well, when you find yourself on your knees, pray. Um, yeah, I, but I do want to be able to be more mindful of what comes out of my mouth and just what's running through my brain. There's a lot of things that run through my brain that I actually don't say, and yet I still believe that God hears your thoughts and my thoughts, and God also um, is, I think, probably not pleased with some of the things that I think about, not some of the things that I say, and some of the things that I feel at this point. And then the No Kings rally happened. And again, record numbers, even globally, other countries were marching to support the United States in not having a king be in the White House. And I got so hopeful that so many people are aligned with how I want things to be and what I believe is right for our country and for our our brothers and sisters who are marginalized. I'm just hopeful at this point that people are waking up, even people who might have voted for the current administration. Not all of them, of course, because I saw several of them this weekend when I was out and about. And so I do know that there are still tons and tons of people who believe in this regime and will always believe in this regime. Even when the truth comes out and everybody is held accountable for what they've done, I still believe that people will hold on to their own lies that they're telling themselves just to get through. I really believe that if we continue to be focused on our inner peace, our inner resolve, and our own desire to spread the love and the patience and the kindness that we believe that Jesus has taught us to do, if we just, as we say, you know, mind your own porch, clean off your porch before you go to somebody else's. Take the speck out of your eye before you try to take something out of somebody else. We have to mind ourselves because I really believe that we are responsible for only us. Yes, we care about our marginalized brothers and sisters. Yes, we try to support them. But when I allow my passion for them to create dis-ease and anger and fury in me, I have missed the mark as far as what I'm put on this earth to do. I can't sacrifice my wellness. I can't sacrifice my beliefs. I can't sacrifice my path in order to save someone else because then I'm lost. So I have to find a way to stay exactly where God wants me to be, an uplifting, energetic, kind person and a person that loves to serve. It got to the point in this last little bit and I have been through stuff. We all have been through stuff. But in this last little bit, I really hit a wall and I wasn't able to not be angry. I wasn't able to be in a place of love and kindness. I was angry all the time. Now, you guys know that my wife has gone through lots of health problems. I've had health problems, and she recently had surgery to take care of some of the problems she's had, and that's going to really help. And yet, she still has some other problems that we're going to have to probably look at surgery for. But was not just like a 2 week thing that happened. It really has been like at least a year and longer, where she has been declining so quickly that pretty much she would go to work and then come home, but I needed to do everything else because she couldn't without being in a whole lot of pain. So it's been at least a year that I've been trying to be the point person, the one that did all the heavy lifting and did all the stuff because she hasn't been able to do it. And then the surgery happened and then she could do even less. So now we decided that we just were going to go up to our sacred cabin, which we hadn't been here in about a month, and we were going to kind of reclaim and build her back up a little bit. And it has been amazing. Just getting away from everything else, even though we were, pretty much at home, but getting away from the neighborhood, coming up to this sacred space, being able to get out on the parkway, see some leaves that may be a lot more muted this year than other years because of the drought that happened apparently up here on the mountain. We thought we were getting plenty of rain, but apparently not, to make the prettiest leaves. But out on the parkway and going further up the parkway, we were seeing a lot of good colors. She was able to walk some and get out there and start moving some muscles and flexing out some places that she hasn't been able to use, and so just that time of awayness has been just absolutely great. And I really love the idea that we can create inner peace inside ourselves, even amongst all the chaos that's still going on. Nothing has changed, but there is a way for us to position ourselves either physically somewhere else or emotionally somewhere else and bring in the wellness that we need to ourselves so that we can then extend it back out into the world. We've talked about the vessel has to be filled before you can give anybody a drink. And so we are the vessel. We are the engine that runs everything that we are being called to do. And so if we are dry, if we've done all that we can do, then what we're expected to do is to rest, to disconnect and to rest. Someone else is going to do the job that needs to be done. If it can't be me, it's going to be somebody else. You know, I know that some of you have lots of podcasts that you listen to, and that's awesome and brilliant. And I listen to other podcasts too. And so, of course, we find our thing, the thing that we need to hear from someone. If it's not from the same person that you listen to mostly or all the time, you'll find a podcast where you're going to hear something different or something else because we can't be on one track. We That's what diversity is all about, right? That's why we have so many letters. LGBTQIA plus. We have to have different viewpoints and identities, and that's fine. So when we get to a place where we find ourselves not being able to speak love or to feel love and always consumed with anger or rage or just exhaustion, we've been way overcooked. We should have stopped a long time ago. Um, and I'm so grateful that I felt the energy to come back today because I love doing this. I love my podcast. I love my clients that I coach. I love being a server at church. And yet I'm finding myself, just not going back to serve yet. I can go. Um, and I'm just not ready to take it all in yet, and that's okay too. And I wouldn't have said that to you earlier because for me, I'd probably tell you that it's okay, but I hold myself at a ridiculously high standard from my background, and I still haven't always let that go. Sometimes I can let it go, but I don't always let it go, and I hold myself to a very high standard. And so, not doing everything that I love or not doing everything that other people expect out of me, ooh, that expectation word, I then feel like I'm not good enough or I haven't done it right or I'm not, giving all that I need to give. But once you've given it all and you have nothing left, then you're not really giving. Then you're forcing it, and then you don't like it, and then you'll probably quit. So, you got to pace yourself, and we have to find that place where we can be the voice of Jesus and not the voice of anger and hate to try to get back at anger and hate. I also read somewhere that the words that are powerful reflect the condition of our hearts. So powerful words can be good or not so good. If I'm saying powerful words about love and about kindness, then that's great. But if those powerful words are ugly and angry and vicious, that's what I'm holding in my heart. So the condition of my heart can be tracked by what I'm saying about myself, about others, about life in general. Everything that's bad in the world right now is coming from people whose heart is bound with hate. Maybe for themselves, definitely for others, but it's a projection of what is in their heart. Anger and love do not stay in the same place. And so, if we don't have love in our hearts, then we have replaced it with something else. And that's what we need to pay attention to. What are we giving to others? And it's generating from us. And that's not anybody else's fault. It may be because of something else that someone's doing and we're having a reaction to it. But I can look back at like years ago, and I remember saying to people when something bad was happening outside in the world and I didn't feel a reaction to it, and I still saw love and light and hope. And I don't feel that now as much as I did back then. Now, after this time away, I am radiating some hope now. I am seeing so much love in the world, and I connect with that. And when we connect to something that's positive and loving and light, then we can rejuvenate ourselves. So I want us to be really careful, me included. I want us to be really careful at how much we're taking in that's creating that ugliness and that anger and that rage inside of our hearts. And as soon as you recognize it, stop what you're doing. Find a place to meditate, or to walk in the woods, or to play with your puppers, or to call a friend, or go to a movie that's funny. Do something that's going to bring the light and the hope and the love back. Google, hopeful things that are happening in the world, or whatever you want to do, but make sure that you're paying attention to what words are in our hearts. What are we speaking? And we need to be careful about putting all the blame on all the ugly things that are in the world. They're there. They've always been there. One way or the other, something bad has always been happening. However, it's how we connect to it and how we respond to it. Responding to it in like manner creates a connection to that ugliness, and we start the spiral. So it's okay to understand what's ugly and what you don't like, and then find a way to disconnect from it, rejuvenate yourself, and come at it from a different heart space and a different head space. Because we really have the power to build someone up or to tear someone down. We have the power to bring healing and light, or we are going to bring destruction and be a part of that cesspool. We are accountable for only us, and we want to make sure that our heart reflects the God that is within us. So what words do we speak, and what's in our heart? I love you guys. I hope that you have a really good day. May you find love and light and peace and the energy to share that with others. Thank you, everybody, for sharing this time with me, for subscribing and supporting this podcast. If you would like to find out more information and links to connect with me, go to the show page for Gay with God at empoweredmidge.podbean.com. Check out our Facebook group, Gay with God, where we do a monthly Zoom group entitled My Faith Journey. It's a great time to be in community with other like-minded people who have a relationship with the God of their understanding and just needing support to kind of be in connection with each other and to talk about things that are relevant to us as a community. When you find the Gay with God Facebook group, make sure that you answer all the questions so that I can invite you inside. If you need support to help you through your own coming out or faith journey, and you would like a complimentary session with me, go to the show page at empoweredmidge.podbean.com, scroll all the way to the bottom and see how to connect with me, and we can have a complimentary session. If you are listening to this podcast and are questioning whether you can be gay and be in a relationship with the God of your understanding, if you identify as LGBTQIA+, or not even sure that you're gay, God has always been within you. Even when you didn't know it, you have always been gay with God. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned to see how you can join the Gay with God community. And as always, you are loved. I want to invite you to become a part of the Gay with God community. How can you do that? Stay connected by messaging me your thoughts and comments in the comment section under the downloads of the show on the Gay with God show page. Subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and share so we can increase our community outreach and be a light to those who are struggling to claim their faith. Consider being a sponsor so I can highlight your service in our community. We are all worthy of respect and a relationship with the God of our understanding. I want to thank you in advance for supporting this podcast. Together, we as a community will keep this show visible and our community stronger. Deep gratitude to my friend Tim McClendon of Tim McClendon Music for allowing me to use an excerpt from Interlude 4, a song found on his CD entitled Sundance.